So set up appropriately, I think. Good to see everybody. We're going to settle in just a second here. Just going to make sure I'm... Oh, my voice is going a little bit, so... Everybody who's just tuning in, good to see you. We're going to start in just a second here. We're talking about whether or not modern religion comes from social media. This was actually indirectly a subscriber request, so I'm excited. We're going to be pulling up a lot of chat messages tonight. Yeah, and it should be a good discussion, conversation. We'll probably have a couple small arguments and whatnot, but we'll see. Let's see. All right, we got to pull up. How's everybody doing today? Hey, good to see you, Nong Yal. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Nanjil Khan. Apologies if I'm not very good at pronunciation. I'm good at like writing. I can put like ideas together. I can construct a sentence or a paragraph. Not that good at like really understanding a single word, like that really deeply, almost like computational analytic stuff. I have to really think about it. Hans, good to see you. Nangyal. Cool. Sup. I just set a poll up. If you guys want to go ahead and vote, how do you guys worship on social media? Yeah, and just a quick shout out. Before we get started and stuff. All my agnostic and atheist brethren, we're not intending to have a harsh conversation. We want to talk about theology, actually. So, did I miss the Quaid? Are you the missing Quaid brother? No, that's funny. What has Dennis Quaid been in? Was he in Ghostbusters? Why are you vegan and work out but you vape? Good question. Who knows? The oil industry or something. I don't know what the honest answer is. I've always had a very high energy mindset. And some folks with that high energy mindset who have like alcoholism and stuff in their family, are attracted to, whatever. They're attracted to substances that are either themselves stimulants and sort of like chill a person out, or depressants and stuff like that. And nicotine is a stimulant, so who knows? Lack of responsibility, maybe. Hey, Jordan, good to see you. Thank you. Stop talking. Leave an interesting question then, please. Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to stop talking. I'm just teasing. Don't mind me. Wander Bucket. I don't know what you said. Oh, yeah. Trash Channel. What's up? Mika Niren. Hey, Dux, why do you miss me? I don't recognize the username or PFP, but now that you used my proper name, I'll try and remember you, Mika. So my bad. Jessica Andrew, good to see you. Yeah, we might be, depending on how the conversation goes tonight, we'll see if any of the mods come. If any of the mods tune into the stream, that'll be a good thing. I can turn off the auto moderator a little bit and we can have an honest conversation. And if we don't, I might add some folks as mods if I recognize your name, if you've kind of been good faith, if you've participated in stuff like that, right? It's not like an award. But it's just whatever. I mod on a couple channels. I don't know if you guys know Breakfast Tacos. He's like a very dedicated atheist streamer, but he's really big on like the politics Discord, right? And like the dweeb sphere. So I mod on his channel. I thought I had a couple other wrenches, but I forgot where. It's just another way to watch content. Hey, what's up, Dusty? Rob, good to see you. What's up, bro? What do you want to talk about? Yeah, tonight I want to talk about if religion comes from social media. And so for like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, where some generations just grew up at such a time where like anyone can really go out and if you search God in your YouTube algorithm, you're going to get 100 million videos. There's going to be 10 million hits, right? That's not even counting shorts. These are people that make long form content about religion. And so I would love with you guys can push back and say, no, this is nonsense, right? Religion, Islam, Christianity, it's all from the Bible. You guys tell me, or maybe it is the case that, my experience at a Catholic school, right? I had nuns for teachers sometimes. I had, there were like, depending on the school, 2 or 3 priests, up to 4 or 5 priests that, did mass services, sometimes events and stuff like that. So I have a really different perspective about like learning about religion from other people. Travis C says, I'm the mod here. Jordan's been on thin ice. Jordan's getting slapped in chat. All right. I didn't see what Jordan said. That was really offensive. Just to be honest. Food near you. Was Jordan the one that said stop talking? Yeah. Typical red pill stuff. No worries. That's all good. If red pill folks want to weigh in a little bit, who knows? Maybe you can tell me the orthodox, or you guys can tell me about how, religion is just, naturally from God. I don't know. You tell me. We force our beliefs on other people. Get a real job and stop complaining, says Stephen Holmes. Cool. I don't know what is happening. Good to see you, Nubdub. Gear Jammer. Travis C ain't no mod. Travis C ain't no mod. Gage Adams. Brainwashed since birth. What a shame to lose another. Ex-Catholic here. Yeah, I was Roman Catholic too, Jessica. So that's cool. I think we found a wrench, right? This is how nepotism works, right? If you tell me you're a former Roman Catholic, you get the mod wrench. That's how easy that is. Boom. Checking your white privilege. Hell yeah. No, I learned a lot. I remember I had one priest at my parish. His name was Father Basil. Father Basil was from Nigeria. The Catholic Church encourages priests to go serve a community across the world. This is just how the Catholic Church works. And so it was cool. Father Basil, I was too young to maybe pick up on the differences. Like, why is this African man coaching to me? What is he telling me about Psalms? I didn't have that much depth about me, when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever. But yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. Bro has no life or job, just a spoiled kid. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm on my trust fund and all that stuff. And I do have to apologize if anyone was here during the morning stream. I rage quit after about an hour. I said, fuck all y'all. No, but we got an hour work in. We talked about Samuel Huntington. If you guys want to do geopolitics instead of religion or whatever, then yeah, happy to talk about it. Love God, bought Satan. My belief is Pharaoh Anubis. Yeah, Egyptian stuff is very cool. My mom curated an event at the Big City Art Museum here in Arizona, Phoenix Art Museum, which had like sarcophagi and old Egyptian artifacts. So it was a mixture of art and archaeology. Museums kind of see those two as the same sometimes. So that was kind of cool to see back when I was a kid. It's David A says, is 40 Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches too much to start the day? Hell no. No, when I used to work at a call center, when I used to work at a call center, I would stop at QT every day. It wasn't a healthy habit. It was a really bad habit, but I would stop at QT. I would get a Zions energy drink, and I would get like a QT breakfast sausage, right? Me and my buddy would drive to work early, and work out at the company gym for 20, 30 minutes. And then I would go to work. Yeah. So if you eat 40 Jimmy Dean breakfast sausages, I have respect for that, even as a vegan. Even as a vegan. Travis C. Maybe I'll mod you up later in the show, Travis, if you want. If you want the blue name and the wrench and all that stuff, who knows? Maybe. You contribute too much right now, bro. You contribute too much right now, bro. Whatever. Tricky one says, listen. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Holy fuck, it's fucking Crickety Cricket. Yeah, that's from, what's it called? Always Sunny. Always Sunny's a funny show. Yeah, the dentist system and all that stuff. That was funny. It was one I could never watch Always Sunny like back to back to back to back. I thought it was a little too abrasive. Maybe I'm whatever. It's just my personality, my identity. Maybe I'm too much of a female. No suing my name. Have you heard of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints? Yeah. If they're not interrupting my run or whatever, and I've worked out in my driveway. I work out in my driveway sometimes. So if those guys come up and try and say hi and they're being polite, I'll talk to them when they're polite. If they're being like nice and stuff, it's like, cool. If you want to get a rep on your spiel or whatever, I've heard it. It's not going to hurt me. If it helps you, cool. If you're actually trying to save my soul, I've got nothing to say to that. Hey, what up, Unk? What up, big brother? DB Goats. Let's go. Indeed, social media is LOL, is laugh out loud. Kids glorify social media more than God. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is the example. One of you guys commented on a short, and so I wanted to see if you guys want to talk about this tonight, right? Maybe that's a little jonesing for a topic or whatever, But yeah, like something like eschatology, right? This is the study of death and salvation. I felt when I was a Catholic that if I asked my priest about what happens when I die, he'd be like, well, why are you asking? And he'd be like, well, yeah, in the book of Revelations and all this, it says this, but, we're not sure, maybe that's allegorical, right? Like I had a good Catholic parish and stuff. I'm not bitter or hateful, even though I'm not really Catholic at all anymore. But like, if you go on social media now, people are talking about hell and salvation and damnation, like it's a, like it's a Ross or it's like a discount clothes store or something, right? It's like, yeah, whatever you take off the shelf. Lucky Duck, hell yeah. Hey, what's up? My name is Duck. We got a Lucky Duck in the chat. Good to see you. You are at the Duck Pond, baby. Welcome to Ducks Y. If you want to like and subscribe, we'll have at least 2 ducks on the Duck channel. There's no term limits for ducks either here. How do you know when it's the latter days? Wander Bucket asks a good question. I don't know. If I got any of my Gen Z Christians, any of my classic Roman Catholics, any Orthodox folks in chat, anyone Islamic, right? Whatever. We don't have to get too granular. If anyone has any idea when we might know when it's the latter days, if you don't have a boom mic, you don't have a microphone, right? Use my glasses. If you don't have a microphone, you don't have the right equipment for the apocalypse, how would you know? How do people get told? What do you guys think? How do you know when it's the latter days? I got no idea. How do you get a zucchini out of your butt if one got up there too far? I don't know. If you want props, I do have a green zucchini and a yellow squash in my fridge right now. I don't think they're not fetishized squashes. They're not fetishized squashes yet. We haven't gotten the Monsanto like DNA on there. Mason Wells, have you ever ate booty? I don't know. I wouldn't kiss and tell anyways. That's still kissing, right? That's what you're asking. You at least know that much. Amari Wilson, yar. Yar back to you. Let's go, baby. Yar, yar, yar. Yeet. 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 No, I should get some I should make microphone glasses. So you just need a phone and glasses and you get a professional quality stream. But then you're stuck wearing your glasses for 4 hours. God made us in his image, act like it. Yeah, Rob, do say more. Rob, good to see you. God made us in his image, act like it. Yeah, if you want to let us know what that means, feel free. David, meat is great, but lentils and beans are solid protein sources. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Mason, good to see you. 2A Patriot. This is what mental illness looks like. Do you ever bathe? Do you know what bathing is? 2A Patriot, good to see you, bro. Thank you for the criticism, I suppose. I appreciate it. No worries. Mason Wells, all mainstream institutions are lies. It's obvious that to anyone who's not brain dead. Bam. Yeah, I was sounding off on Wick TV's chat a little bit earlier today. I'm a YouTube user, just like a lot of other people when I'm streaming. Yeah, it's crazy how it's become so acceptable to have these like exciting sort of like thud, like flat dialogue conversations and stuff like that. And it's like, well, look, a lot of people in the audience want you to introduce the topic and then they want you to talk about it. So mainstream institutions, when I hear institutions, I think of media, right? I think of all of Fox, like all Fox, CNN, like that's all one thing, right? You turn on your TV, there's good stories, there's useful stories. They tell you who people are, what they did, and all this other stuff. But it's ultimately up to people to make something from that. Anas says, hey, I am Muslim. Cool. I'm accusing, I usually don't do this, but tonight I'm accusing that modern religion, I don't care what religion it is being informed by social media. Is religion coming from social media? If you got any opinions on that, if I shouldn't be saying it, if I should change my mind about that, let me know. Let me know. If you want to have a conversation, I'll pin your chat up. Your boyfriend is Slavic Orthodox. Cool. Oh, Bob's in the house. What's up? Good to see you, Bob. Jessica or Bob tell you guys to do something, please do it. Thank you. Huge thanks to Jess and Bob for joining tonight. Pink Horizon, hi. Hello. Hello. That guy, Gords, Travis C. Pink Horizon, hello again. Let's see. Mason says that Taoism is the most truthful religion, and then Buddhism, then Judaism, then Christianity, and then Islam. And then the Rickroll, Gnostic Christianity is almost 99%, but they slayed all of Yeshua's followers. Gnostic or mystic Christianity? What if, so that's an interesting one. If you guys know the word Gnostic, that means with knowledge. You have knowledge or experience, practical sort of something of something. So so Mason's suggesting to us that if you go out and do Christianity, that's the best way to do it. What about like street epistemology? What about posting a sermon on YouTube? Is that Gnostic? What if you do something like that and you end up learning again about microphones, right? You learn about a microphone. Microphones. Who knows? Then you're doing social media again. You're not doing Christianity. You could be an atheist. It has nothing to do with religion in the first place, Mason. Thank you, that guy. I am pretty clean. Black beans have a lot of antioxidants in them. Let's see. Will, nobody wants your phone number. If I see someone posting personal information in chat, I'll just ban you right away. Thank you, though. Elijah, what's up? What up? Yeah, Quandale Dingle says, I don't want to be that one guy who agrees that Scientology makes no sense. Yeah, yeah. Scientology is like the prototypical example of, if you ask like why can religion and cult sometimes be compared to each other? Scientology doesn't have a lot of public information. They charge people money to get information about that religion. They have a lot of defensive apparatuses in place in terms of lawyers and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's not very social media apt. Not social media apt. You think noses are cuter than racks? Asks Walter. Yeah, I think the aesthetic of a whole person is what makes a person attractive. And some people might be attractive and be really annoying, and some people might be really annoying and be also not attractive, and some people might be attractive and not annoying. So whatever. Hey, that guy says Travis smells like mayonnaise doused with wet quarters. Let's not do that, guys. I really don't want to do that. Because then I have to decide and think something, right? I do, or one of the mods does, or whatever. Roba Ahmed, a lion with a mosque. A lion was in a mosque and prayed with the people and didn't hurt anyone. Cool, good point. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, if you want to tell me what you mean by that. Daniel MHB, we are talking about sort of religion and social media. Does modern religion come too much and depend too much on social media? For folks that are a little older in chat, if you had a spiritual leader at a church, or if you're an atheist and you want to talk about that, or whatever, yeah, what's the actual theology once you put theology on social media? What's the philosophy? What's the conversation about? Yeah, Roba, that's cool. Yeah, if you are Muslim, yeah, what about like guys like what was his name? Mohammed Hijab. He's been on Piers Morgan's show. He debated Piers on Gaza and a bunch of other people. Debated Rabbi Shmuley on Palestinian and Israeli relations, but he's a very well educated guy. But he's been accused by a lot of people of being anti-Hindu, of being anti-Westerner, and supporting extremist or more extreme, being like that soft pillow into extremism. And so, yeah, interested to hear. Maybe he's not a hateful person, but he does support a further right version of Islam. He's on social media. What if people are learning from him? Good to see you guys. I'm going to skip down to the bottom. Sorry if you guys said something useful. Says, what do you think of queer ideas or queer people? You could say either one. If you're talking about sort of queer ideology or worldviews, God made us in his image, and if it's consensual, why would he hate that? Yeah, that's a different type of queer for sure. General question from a Christian queer. Yeah, who knows? Isn't that so weird that you yourself are Christian and associate as queer or LGBTQ or however that works, whatever works best, right? I'm not telling you what to think. Only weird in the sense that, like, why do we even have an institution that asks a question like that? Why do we have an institution in 2025 that thinks and operates like that? Very strange. But yeah, generally, I think, I think if you look at like the crises that happen in modernity, sorry to like have a dad moment, right? But like, yeah, someone, you can do hillbilly, hey Ron, right? Whatever it is, I'm not telling you to go do that, but like, you can do that, or, who knows? You can be an alcoholic OnlyFans creator and have no customers. That's another option that a person would have. And that's a choice about you, not OnlyFans or alcohol, right? You could, get into $35,000 in credit card debt. That's something a person could do. And so, yeah, when I think of Christianity wanting to pin down an aesthetic or a lifestyle of queer or LGBTQ, I don't think they're actually talking about the mechanisms that like a scientist would talk about. Yeah, I think they're talking around an issue, around the issue of religion and social media. What do you guys want to talk about? Yeah, so good to have you for sure. Good question. Good question. Personally, an Orthodox Christian. Yeah, I have this came up in a stream earlier. I'll let the Orthodox folks think about this one. This is Samuel Huntington, who argued with Francis Fukuyama. He talked about geopolitics. He said, in Orthodoxy, God is Caesar's junior partner. In Orthodoxy, God is Caesar's junior partner. He basically says that, yeah, it's not just if you go to like Hungary or wherever, if you go to Eastern Europe and you look at the original Orthodox Church, you see power first, you see power, and then you see God confirming that power. And that's how you get other forms of either corruption or nepotism or oligarchies, or you see cultural hegemony coming from this. Yeah, so that's just been sitting there. It's a very short line. We could talk about it more often. What do you think about my brother Walter? I don't know your brother. Where is he? Where is she? Rob Comics, please, just because if we're having a topic about LGBTQ or we're talking about queer, intersectional, or not that stuff or whatever, I don't care what you think. I don't care what we're talking about. We're not going to throw words around. Take a second, blow back on that. Blow back on that, homeboy. Think about it a little bit. The gay guy doesn't read his Bible. That's not a way to address a person. Thank you, though. De Ute Blinker. De Ute Blinker. De Uli Blinker. Whatever that name is. De Uit Blinker. I'm going to get that out of here, too, just so we have a nice, clean chat. Gigantor says, will you review a movie I worked on? Yeah, if you can find me on Discord. I don't have a Discord myself in the description, but if you can find me on Discord, or if you leave it on a comment and YouTube's algorithm doesn't flag it, I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll do a full review, but I'll click the link. I'll watch it. Yeah, last I checked, God didn't say he hates gays. He says it's an abomination to his design. Yeah, he didn't give it a lot of time. He does say that, but he didn't give it a lot of time. And so it's left to man to interpret what he meant by it. Good point, Bob. Because God had a non-physical image before the physical world existed. I think what is meant by God's image is free will. I don't know, Wonder Bucket. That's a point for sure. I'm not totally following the logic or the theology of it, but seeing God before, if we see a physical world and we know, like someone at least like Benedict Spinoza says God is synonymous with nature, and then we believe that an omni being, a greatest being, or a necessitated being, maybe God has to be the greatest in this world, came before that world, right? Came before that world. I'm not saying anything offensive by questioning an omni greatest being, by the way. If you disagree, let me know. But yeah, if God came before that, then we're talking about a free will, a will that created the world. So God is this pure potentiality, pure will. I don't know. I would run out of my actual theology knowledge or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting. Or alternatively, Spinoza's version of God, not the sola scriptura version of God, but an axiomatic God would necessarily, in this case, at some point make sense of the same laws of physics everyone else does, right? Aren't I such a nice atheist too, by the way? So that's a good point, Wonder Bucket. Any thoughts on Satan currently operating from the White House? Yeah, I talked about Satan yesterday. I think everyone should be aware of Satan's hard deeds, even if you're. And so is Donald Trump Satan? I don't know. That's not my version of Satan, the destroyer. Yeah, I oppose a lot of Donald Trump's policies. I think this very hackneyed old Republican idea for my own centrist left-leaning politics is that, well, maybe you have this limited government, but you're still having a bunch of old white dudes and, people curled up over their Bibles who are looking down and they're saying, look, we're going to have America teach themselves a lesson, right? This is what like Samuel Alito and like old Supreme Court justices, have been accused of, is that like, oh, if you teach the government and the United States a lesson, then we'll teach you a lesson back. That's how competition works. And that's really, I don't buy that dialogue. So I've got huge problems with it. I've got huge problems with alligator Alcatraz and opening detention centers without having any clear line to state and federal powers. I have problems with people being detained and deported without due process. I have problems with having this sweeping budget being voted on by people without having a public dialogue. To me, I would think, vote all of them out of office, right? If you guys don't like that, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me what I missed. My MAGA crew. If Jesus crossed, Fernando L asks, if Jesus crossed illegally, would you deport him? I wouldn't. I'd probably advise him to get a lawyer. And if his lawyer says, have you been paying taxes? And Jesus says yes. And if, his lawyer says, well, do you have anything more than a speeding ticket? Do you have a speeding ticket? Do you have anything more than a speeding ticket? And he was like, nah. Then in this case, I would say Jesus and his lawyer should have some process to fill out some paperwork, delay the process and get some clarity around everything. Have you been to Tennessee? No, it'd be cool though. Yeah, it'd be cool to go to Nashville. There's a lot of great musical instrument manufacturers. There's the North American Music Show, NAMM, I think sometimes goes to Tennessee. But yeah, it'd be cool. Turn yourself to me, guy. Turn yourself to me, guy. Mr. ADG, what's up? Good to see you. Hi. I want to talk about your butt. I do have a big butt. I said on my fitness stream when I was popping off, I think I said I have a BBL. I think that's the term. I don't know. Hey, Travis, do you mind just cooling out the spam? I know Jessica's doing a great job. You guys are all doing a great job. But yeah, everybody, we're trying to kind of keep an eye on some of the messages. Here, let's do this. Travis, if you spam as a moderator, I will ban you right away forever, or at least 24 hours. 24 hours to forever, depending on what the spam is. But thanks for hanging out, dude. Daniel MHB, I'm actually an Oriental Orthodox Christian, so it's a little different than that. Cool. I don't know what that means. If you want to say more, do say more. By Christian logic, Texas flood is God's will. Thoughts about Ariana Grande? She's so talented. Ariana Grande's voice is amazing. Yeah, I've always, for the musical quality, I've always found it really hard. Like, even if I don't listen to a ton of pop music, the aesthetic value of pop music is obviously so good because millions of people listen to it. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's really cool that Taylor Swift went like independent or more independent and then made $1 billion. But I also don't think that changes that there's a lot of good music from like Sony or Universal, whatever. To truly teach, one must understand the ignorant. Yeah, Bob, your buddy Duck didn't come in here planning on teaching. I was going to make a point. The point was to ask a question in the first place, Bob. And you got to steal me right then. You got to steal me right. You tell me where I went wrong then. You tell me where I went wrong. Hold on. I'm going to zoom down. Free Diddy, says Brad Doll. Jessica says in chat, my nephew is homosexual. I left Christianity for him. Very nice. Yeah. I thought I scrolled onto Jesus's live stream. No, we're talking about modern religion being part of I almost said sociopathy. Social media. What do you want, bro? How we doing? Let's go. Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that a BBL was like an acronym for something. A Brazilian butt lift. That sounds funny to me. I think at 35, I'm old enough to be a little surprised and think that's funny. We are created in the image of God. Yeah. So good point, Rob. Good point. We are created in the image of God. How does that change? What is the image of God? What is the image of God when we are when God's portrayed as an aesthetic for an algorithm? Who's to blame? Am I wrong? Derek says, I learned Alligator Alcatraz was meant to hold migrants for 14 days before their trial. It's not a permanent camp. Yeah, that sounds to me like Steve Bannon-esque rhetoric. There's always, these cutting motions where, if Alligator Alcatraz is only supposed to hold people for 14 days, then we don't have a discussion about it. You don't get to be a progressive in the United States and still have your opinion, or you don't get to be a more traditional conservative and ask, why are we burning so much capital on this stupid fucking Gator Gitmo? Like, you don't get to ask stuff, and sorry for swearing. And so, it's only 14 days. Don't look that I'm actually a wrestler and I'm hipping down, driving my hip bone, right into your collarbone. I'm gonna get this thumb bone, up your nose. I'm gonna put it like, drive that neck. Get that neck to give a little bit. Once you give me a little bit, I'll push you all the way down. And then you have a new system that people in the United States never voted for and never talked about. That's not how democracy works. So tell me why I'm wrong, or Derek, let me know what's the next step of that conversation. Derek says, I just learned Alligator Alcatraz was meant to hold migrants for 14 days before their trial. It's not a permanent camp. Don't worry about it. And I said, that's absolutely the wrong way to look at it. That's your way of making it a permanent camp. Any of my deconstructivist people, if you're in chat and you look at an idea and you wonder like, where is this pushing me around? I'm not telling you to not be optimistic or charitable, but people read things different ways. Everybody reads stuff different ways. So, do you condemn the Crusades, bro? You can condemn the Crusades. That's funny as hell. Yeah. This was from Samuel Huntington. Derek says, if you're Christian, do you have to condemn the Crusades? Some Westerners have argued that the West does not have a problem with Islam, but only with violent Islamist extremists. 1,400 years of history demonstrate otherwise. So you have the Crusades, you have the Byzantine Arab Wars, in which this was after Muhammad died, and you have an expansion of the Islamic Empire to North Africa and Asia Minor and the Mediterranean, which is like Greece, Turkey, that area. And then you have the Ottoman Empire expanding. So those are three like massive World War I, World War II scale conflicts between Europe and Christians. And that's, that's before Iraq and Afghanistan. That is before Israel and Lebanon. Lebanon as a democracy has gone to war with Israel as a democracy. All kinds of stuff. Miles Fox in the chat. What's up? We're doing Lamar Jackson edits. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Yep. Today's your birthday. Hey, happy birthday to Nightfall. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for spending a couple minutes here. I hope you had I'm not going to sing happy birthday, but I hope you had a good day. I hope that turns into a good week. Cheers to you. Um, hey, what's up, Isabel? Justice Rankin, good to see you again. Hi to you as well. What's your opinion of US aid and Dodge dismantling it? I don't have a strong opinion about the question you asked because I don't totally understand it. Yeah, did Doge dismantle USAID? Was that the instrument? I believe Donald Trump said he wanted to cut foreign aid. I just saw Al Jazeera ran a story today, Al Jazeera English, which is a great place to have balanced news. Just ran a story, and it is about Somalia, depending on USAID. And a lot of it was for like kids' healthcare and stuff like that. And so they're hurting quite a bit. And so I think there's probably a lot more stories like that. So who knows? I think that's a bigger deal than people make it out to be. I'm okay. Anything that bothers the libs. Rodney Harris, can you tell me why all libs are a group? Thank you. Appreciate you, Rodney. Let me know. You can tell me in 10 seconds, Rodney, if you're still here. I'm going to zoom on down. We got any Christians in chat today? We got a bunch of folks that are talking about, what's it called? A bunch of folks talking about eschatology, exegesis, iogesis, all this stuff on YouTube. Any of y'all, if you guys are in the US, you guys seen, or if you're not in the US, you guys have seen sort of the dominant faith in your area showing up on your YouTube algorithm? Is it true? Is it the case that we have indeed moved our ability to understand philosophy and theology onto social media? Is it true like that? Are you a philosophy major, political science major, Dominique? I've taken a decent amount of philosophy, political theory as well. Yeah, I political theory, under the political science department, you don't learn a ton of like metaphysics or epistemology, but it is philosophy still. It's still philosophy. How are y'all doing tonight? If you want to hit like or subscribe or whatever it is, we're just doing a live stream. That's the problem with college. Yeah, Mike, feel free to share your view on education. Yeah, let me know what you mean by that. That's the problem with college. College is a big thing. Who's your favorite philosopher? I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite philosopher. That's the honest answer. Remember, God loves you. Brad says something. Yeah, exegesis is how you interpret a text without trying to add your own opinion onto it, without editorializing it. So it's important for like the Bible because you could ask, well, what's the correct exegesis of the Bible in the year 1300 in Hamburg, Germany or something? Right? What did Hamburg exist like? But what was the exegesis? What's the exegesis now? What do people say is the best way to find information and data on how the Bible is interpreted? Have we gotten better or lost clarity over time? My favorite philosopher was Plato. Yeah, Plato's cool. He talks about the Plato's cave where we see a world of illusions. We see a world full of illusions. It's kind of cool. Derek says, I'm a fan of Socrates. Yeah, the narratives, Plato's Republic is really big, and he talks about different just and corrupt forms of government. Kind of ties into how he saw his metaphysics. He's a very consistent thinker, fairly consistent. Is it true modern religions actually worship ancient Egyptian gods? Ancient Egyptians god. Yeah, I personally don't actually know what that means. So if you want to clarify your point, what reasons we would have to say that, happy to talk about it. Yeah. And so Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that the main thing, my argument for anyone here who wants to talk about it is that like ancient Christianity or whatever it is, or modern Christianity um, is what's it called? Yeah, you went from having a church leader and different people contributing to the service and community who preached within four walls, and then wherever the community would take those four walls. And then when you go on social media, you're now talking to an algorithm which has nothing to do with living like a priori an ethical life. It has nothing to do with the message of in Christianity the Gospels or what in Islam, what like the sunnahs. I'm gonna say it wrong, but you have there's one God who's Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. You on social media, you don't necessarily have anything to do with religion itself, and so yeah, sure, it's social context, but when does that become bigger than the thing itself? Slavic Orthodox Christians still practice pagan customs. Yar. Oh, Mike D, what did you say? Let me go. Oh, whoops. Over 90% of college professors are lefties. So what do you think you're going to be taught? Okay, cool. So if you want to presuppose, yeah, Mike, I think you are doing a disservice. You want to rage bait or something, or your ideas are just so dumb and you don't see that, like the world isn't a used tire store. So you tell me, buddy. Yeah, one of my my first political science professor studied under Francis Fukuyama. He was a former Marine with a PhD from UCLA, and he was at a community college. Red-blooded American who learned from a red-blooded American who then went out and argued with other red-blooded Americans. And I shouldn't even have to push this national narrative to tell you that I liked my college professors. They didn't indoctrinate me about anything. Mike D, I also am starting to think you don't know a female. I'm starting to think that you have only a group of male friends. Don't, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's complete bullshit. God isn't real. I would hate to tell you. I'd hate to tell you. Some guy, yeah, cool. I'm an atheist. Anybody disagrees with some guy? You can let him know. If we were on the line or we were doing a call-in show, I would say, bring your evidence for God. Tell us where and when we can look for it. We're not on the line, so if you have knowledge or God provides you a benefit, your personal knowledge of God provides you a benefit, and you want to encourage someone to see that as well, feel free. Share that statement. If you want it to be brought up on screen and pinned, just yell at me. You can tag me. I'll try and see it. What's wrong with people, David? Ain't nobody knows. Ain't nothing wrong and ain't nothing right about nobody. No freaking trolls allowed here. Thank you, Travis C. laying down the law with this first mod message that I've seen. We don't do trolls here. You guys can troll, but if your trolling is leading to trolling and trolling to trolling, what do we do about that? I wanted to have a conversation, so let's troll our way into a conversation, guys. Duck, you wanted this topic? I'm not typing it up again. Scroll up. Shit, I missed a message from Bob. Combine his last two statements, please. Okay, let's see. Bob says, to sum up this massive subject of philosophy, the human only has limited output, while the mind and soul may be deep and full of complexity. Words are still words, and this isn't nature. If you sit down and try to use words to explain any emotion with words in its entirety, you will surely spend many hours, day, or even years and still fail. That's a deep statement from Bob. We have some, what I would call animal philosophy, what I would call as Bob wisdom. We have a in my mind, this idea that almost springs to life that, well, if I, even if me personally, honestly, I can't get rid of this idea that I have a self, that I have a perception and stuff like that. I can describe the levers and machinations and workings any way I want, but if I'm a person stepping into it or something, well, then I've got a lot of space to cover if I'm going to linguistically describe what spirituality is. If I'm going to linguistically describe, like your favorite influencers on YouTube, what is spirituality? What is natural philosophy? Where do two ideas actually clash and collide and meet? Bob's making a great point, guys. If you sit down and try to use words to explain any emotion with words in its entirety, you will surely spend many hours, day, or even years and still fail. Yep. Jessica says lefties are well educated. Hell yeah. We're scrolling down. Do you think states should be given individual powers over their people, and the government being meant only to protect the nation as the whole? Do you think states should be given individual powers over their people? Well, first, we don't see of governments having powers over their people. I was actually arguing with someone on Reddit about this. So if a leader has optionality, therefore people do and do not have constraints. And if we the people versus we the government, if we the people have optionality, then leaders do or do not have constraints. So if I have optionality to tell everybody to get bent and make money and pay my taxes, that means my government does have the ability to buy more weapons. My government also then has the ability to fix the problems that I created. Externalities. There's a closed loop that's possible in terms of freedom and power and wealth. Maybe not. But yeah, I think the best part of that question, the cool part about that question is that, yeah, states do have a lot of influence. When we think of the United States as a free economic zone, when we think of the United States as the largest country to have a totally liberal paradigm inside of it, so much so that people accuse the United States of having this like crusader mentality, then I think governments already do. When governments entice companies like Deloitte or Tesla to open a factory, or Amazon to open a factory, when they entice better companies to build homes in that area, when they entice their utility companies to be better about cost and efficiency and sustainability and stuff like that, that is local governments defining and telling people what the economic paradigm in the United States is about. So I don't quite. I do see it. Yeah. And the federal government protecting the nation as a whole. That usually means citizens. And eventually that evolves into looking at things like security structures, right? You hit him, I hit you. You can't hit some guys, so don't hit that guy. Every state tries to feel that way about power. Wonder Bucket is singing. Beautiful stuff. We are not liberal as a country. We're considered incredibly right of center. Traitor hater. We're not liberal as a country. We're considered incredibly right of center. I'm not sure where you're getting that idea from. I would love to see things how you see them sometime. I think you could probably sniff out or just kind of stand there like a pencil and wiggle a little bit and get something slightly more useful out of that. Because that's just not that true, right? That's not that true. The United States invests in countries all the time based on liberal values. Large companies, based on perceived freedom and confidence in the United States, make large institutional investment decisions. We give people the right to their own finances and stuff like that. These are all very liberal things, and they're not small things. Maybe they're not everything, but they should be a little simpler than they are. According to we're just making things up. Lyle Sloth, we don't accuse people of being traitors or turncoats here. I appreciate you, though. Bob is conservative. Travis is throwing around the wrench, guys. So everyone who's on thin ice in chat, everyone who's been told by Travis you're on thin ice, just know that I don't see a possible world where there is not thin ice. So that means there is thin ice. But that also means we're not tossing out bans or anything like that. So we having fun. Hey, Nadi or Nadi. Hi, man. Hi to you. Good to see you. New normal. It's not that simple now. Why do you breathe so deep? I don't breathe that deep. I don't know. That's a good question. Probably because I'm in horrible shape and I use a nicotine vape. I want to spend a hot night with you, just you and me. I want to drink, I'll pay you. Cleopatrin Bassi. It's a very cool name, very pretty name. I appreciate the offer. Sly, howdy. What's the stream about? We've been talking about lots of stuff, politics. We're discussing whether or not modern religion comes from social media. What about Gen Z and Gen Alpha? Are people getting too much of their theology or their understanding of Christianity versus Islam or Christianity versus atheism? Are they getting too much of this from social media? That's what we talking on. If you guys want to like and subscribe, feel free. Hit me up. Modern politics is religion with extra steps. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the US, you see bureaucracy every day, don't you? I know it's not the most fun topic, but somebody's changing your traffic lights for you. You've got somebody collecting taxes from the people that fill up your gas tank and change your tires. Yeah. In the United States, maybe there's not protections for LGBTQ plus and inclusive of trans folks, but somebody's making sure that traditional people of color, African Americans, Black people, women, any sort of racial group should be getting the same participation. And if you are proven to not be doing that, there's serious consequences. It's not a rule you break. Even if you feel that way, it's not a rule you break. You just feel that way, and that's unfortunate. What's your favorite movie? Sicario, probably. I love Sicario. Sicario, Harry Potter. I love all those films. I'm super duper far right when it comes to money and stand for human rights, and I do mean human rights, even the ones we don't currently have. Yeah, so Bob, here's my problem. I'm gonna argue with one of my mods real quick. You guys can let me know who wins. I don't know if we have to go super deep into this, but my problem with Bob's statement, if I had a problem with Bob's statement, is if we talk about super far right politics, and let me pin up Bob right now. Blammo. If I had to pin this up, what I would say is, what's the problem with me just thinking that there always has to be a ceiling and a floor, even to small ideas about people having private property and wages. This isn't Karl Marx. This isn't anything crazy. All it's saying is that if we let people make $3 billion a year and they keep every single penny of it, in the same way we let people make $100,000 a year and they keep every single penny of it, then we run into problems. And in this case, I don't need to have a worldview about finances. I just know that eventually the rich get richer and the poor get poorer in that situation. You have people that take advantage. That's the floor and the ceiling. And you have people that are like in like really strict, capitalist terms, you got people too dumb to know what to do with it. And so for money, I think I'm actually further right than you. I think I'm further right, and that's my closing statement. I'm arguing with Bob. Bob's gonna find out he can't warn Travis real quick too. That's funny as hell. What does that have to do with a balanced budget? Well, yeah, I mean, I think it, from my perspective, it informs us that while we are talking, at the same time, if we're talking about keeping the welfare program healthy, we're talking about the social safety net in the United States, we also should be talking about the ways that the United States can create wealth. And then this isn't just an economic dogma. If I want to vote for someone like AOC, or I want to be able to consider voting for Mamdani with a clean conscience, I want to support, Kristen Sinema was in the U.S. one of the first openly gay politicians on the sort of national level or whatever. If I want to be able to do these things, I also need to know that while we're just keeping the social safety net healthy, we're both limiting and encouraging CEOs to make great choices for their business that's sitting in the center of the US market. And then we're also just not being a wet noodle when it comes to supporting, women's rights, economic freedoms, political freedoms around the world. It's not too old school. It's not too old school, and it doesn't have to be as abrasive as it is. You guys can call me spineless. Spineless is what usually comes from this one. I'll just tell you that much. You can't have a social safety net if there is no money. That's a good point. Yep. If there's not money, we have these economic downturns. People aren't able to do the things they want to do. They're not even able to get the right ideas in their head about it in the first place because there's no money, there's no security, there's no incentive, there's too much risk. That's a good point. I don't know. I still feel how I feel. Thin the herd, the strong survive. Yeah, you're on thin ice, Bob. You're on thin ice. You only get one more witty thing, and then after that, I just learned this one. I just learned that a lol cow is a thing. Do you guys know what a lol cow is? I think I'm a lol cow. I gotta think about it a little more. A visit to the dentist puts most of us in debt. That's true. If you live in America and don't have a healthy obsession with money, something's wrong. Yeah, I think it's weird that in the US, at least in 2025, you have to have a really strong grasp of what a free market is and what a rational decision maker is. You have to respect how a business works. I think there's almost a little bit too much of a demand for that, even though it's not bad to know, right? It's knowledge, it's information. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. But it's also weird when the reason that is that, yeah, if you need to have a tooth pulled and a filling put in or something, or a cap put on, that might cost you $1,500. If you don't know how to plan a life to get $1,400 or $1,500 extra bucks, or you don't have the ability to do that, that's pretty tough. That's really damning. And there's definitely people that have that problem. Trump has exploited the non-existent real money, and that has come to this point. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cryptocurrencies. I'm not a big fan of Trump either, but sorry, guys. Sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. Airlines ask parents to put on air masks before their children. And it's not because they hate children. It's for better chance of saving both. A weak America can help the rest of the world. Yeah, epidemiology. Do you guys know about epidemiology? It's just studying how disease passes. Yeah. Hong Kong itself had a different response to the SARS-CoV virus, right? COVID-19. Hong Kong is called a special administrative region, a SAR, S-A-R, in China. And so it would be like Donald Trump says one thing to everyone, and then in Mobile, Alabama, they've got their own permissions to manage the crisis how they see fit. And so, in one case where you might depend on state TV and you have large-scale medical mobilizations and the national police, right? In Hong Kong, you might just say, well, look, you guys have to agree that we're going to get through this in some other way or whatever. So I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It has been studied by people. It's been studied. That guy is one of the great channel supporters. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Travis might be right, might be wrong that guy is on thin ice. You would be the most legendary supporter of Ducks White to be on thin ice in my estimation. In my estimation, I haven't seen it before. A successful person getting in trouble with the law. The coppers are out. The coppers must be out. 1933 gold standard. I don't know. Credit and debt ratios. Pinned message. You guys into economics? Anyone here into economics? You guys learn your economics from YouTube now too? Just religion? Only what the Lord supposedly said about your eternal soul. That's the only aspect we get from social media. Can I get an amen, a like, and subscribe, please? If the Lord said it's good, then you do like and subscribe that video. Amen. Maybe that's what the whole stream is about. Coming up with catchy ways to ask for subscribers. For the degens. For the degens, folks. Kayed Prasovic, what is the stream about? I'm making the claim, sorry if I said your name wrong. I'm making the claim that modern religion is from social media. Too much of it. Too much of it. Yeah. And so I'm asking whether or not theology or the perspective of how atheists and Christians have conversations. How often do we talk about atheism and Christianity? I'm a former Roman Catholic. Roman Catholics in the United States used to say, well, it came to my attention. I became aware of this. I am now aware of this. And that is how a conversation would start and stop. You're now aware of something. And now on social media, we're talking about eschatology, the salvation and damnation of a person's soul. We are talking about, on the atheist side of things, we're talking about large ideas like cosmology or metaphysics or epistemology in a way that is appropriate on social media. And so is it the case that modern religion is now all from social media? I don't know. I'm on social media. I am a YouTube user, Kaid. I use social media all the time. I love wasting time here. I love having fun, informative, goofy, silly, conversations, sometimes mean conversations, I suppose. All right. I got this one, guys. I got this one. Whoops. How do we do this? Joe, you're welcome to come back in 24 hours. Joe, You are welcome back in 24 hours. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to have a conversation. If you want to stand like this and wiggle like a pencil, you don't have to. Obviously, we are in different rooms, so I can't tell you or recommend you do anything. But if you want to come back in 24 hours, say something that is not racist or bigoted, in 24 hours, you're allowed to do that. We love having conversations. We love having conversations with folks all across the political, philosophical, theological, and social spectrum, folks. And so, Joe is gone. That is the last time I'll say that. That's a warning for that guy. Do you know how to do that, Travis? Joe probably has 400 burner accounts. Yeah, I appreciate the messages. Y'all have sent about, I've told you guys this, what is it, like 5,000 messages in the last couple streams, so it's awesome to hang out here, fun to have a conversation. John says, my wife created an OnlyFans account behind my back. Should I divorce her? No. I think divorce is a big decision. So up to you, John. I apologize for that. That guy says yes to John. Hatcher says, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. We're going to start a new poll, guys. You guys want to be a little sneaky? Start a new poll. I'm going to take Bob's message down. Let's see if we can do this poll. Let's not ask for something. All right. I don't know if that's skeezy. I didn't think about being skeezy and slimy, all that stuff. Hey, what's up, Will? Good to see you. I will mention again, if you guys put a phone number up, I will ban the account for 24 hours. No personal information, none of that kind of stuff. But I do appreciate everyone, and I appreciate everyone. Hatcher, we're not sharing OnlyFans links on here. Yeah, John, I don't know. Maybe you can get good advice in the thread, but I will not comment on that again. I think that's too serious that you shared this information. You don't love conversation. You love your own voice. I've made valid points to be treated as a troll. Who made you mightier than thou? Let me go back and see. Okay, yeah, mods, please leave pin message alone. He asked to not be told he's on thin ice, so if you guys need to tag me or something, that's cool. Modern religion all derives from Hinduism. Modern religion all derives from Hinduism. Yeah, you'd have to explain that one to me. That's as much as I could see. Modern religion derives from Hinduism. I don't understand how that's true. I thought that Hinduism derived even east of Asia Minor. I thought, and further west than like Tibet, right? So you'd have to explain that to me. Sort of one in the all things, all that kind of stuff. Stop being a DIC. You guys are good. You guys are good, Bob. Yeah, we're talking today about whether Gen Z and Gen Alpha are learning too much about too much about religion from social media. I myself am an atheist. I'll be transparent. I love talking theology. I love even more talking about cosmology, about physics, about philosophy. And so as you sort of understand the machinations of social media, and maybe you commit to becoming a Roman Catholic or evangelical Christian or Eastern Orthodox, whichever it is, if you ask the right questions, or just in general, sort of what you get when you sign into YouTube and search for the damnation of the soul, eschatology, or you search for what are good reasons to believe in God or religion. What are the best conversations about faith or about agnosticism or atheism or skepticism on the internet? The accusation and discussion and arguments we are having tonight are all about this topic of how does social media change the conversation, the narrative, the epistemology of religion? We are kind of having live conversations. If you leave a chat message, it doesn't have to be every 5 seconds, but I will try to get to it. If you guys tag me, I have a higher likelihood of seeing it. It is at DucksY. You guys can search on my page if you want to like and subscribe to see exactly how YouTube says my name. And yeah. Hey guys. Guys, please stop fighting in chat. Mom, dad, stop fighting. Stop arguing. Please, for the love of God, for the love of Christ, for the love of what is holy. Please stop fighting in chat. Daniel says, can you help me overcome my fear of the Mexican? Do you mean the Mexican? Do you mean the character in played by Antonio Banderas? What's your favorite video games? Talk about some topics people care about. Yeah, Halo 3. I like Halo 3. We need the gosh darn ice to get thicker. Yeah, hey, Travis, please try and that guy comes on. He's contributes to chat. He's contributed on multiple chats. So try to come up with a different way. If you have to warn somebody, if they're not doing anything wrong, cool. If you have to warn somebody, please come up with an alternative way than saying they're on thin ice. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. John, who are atheists believe in wind and don't see? Who are atheists believe in wind and don't see it, yet people believe in Jesus? Yeah, that's kind of talking about the empirical distinction. With that wind, people believe that we can study multiple dimensions. I'm talking about dimensions, right? I could make a spreadsheet that says, with different cells, that says, how thick is the air? What are the molecules in the air? How fast are they blowing on average? How much energy or temperature do they have? And so you would have at least those metrics, right? That's kind of enough to describe wind in the way we normally think about it. In a very simplistic sense, that is what the wind is. It's not bringing you a greater message if you listen more closely. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to know any of that. But that is, thinking in terms of dimensionality might even be too complicated, but it is the way that you can almost form a dynamic story or narrative about, or a model about how something might work. When it comes to Jesus versus the wind, Jesus does not have these dynamic dimensions to him. You can read the Bible and you can pretend like Jesus is a Madden character that's all 100s. That's fine. If you have personal knowledge of that, I usually grant in almost all cases, unless you're trying to intentionally pull a trick and run a game on it. If you tell me I have personal belief and knowledge of my Savior, Jesus Christ, I'll say, cool. If you're asking me to accept that, I'll grant you a lot about that. But that also is a very different type of judgment. I won't grant you that that is the same type of judgment as multiple people having knowledge about the wind. More than one person knowing something is an important distinction from my perspective. Local Fatty says Christianity has ruined the world. Yeah, Christianity. So share more, Local Fatty. I'm sure someone tell Fatty why he's right or wrong. Imagine only reading one book and thinking you know it all. Somebody tell Fatty why he's right or wrong. I'd love to hear that. Are you informed on things like the Hadron Collider, the LHC? Yeah, it depends what you want to know, I guess. So the LHC has helped turn predictions that happened on a chalkboard, so abstract mathematics about the universe, really tricky stuff, some of that. A couple layers into just like being able to see a math equation from a textbook and then do a computation on a piece of paper and then being able to apply that to what you think the world might be like in terms of a hypothesis over the course of like a decade or something, whatever. The LHC's gone out and found some of those predictions. It's one of several devices. We have neutrino detectors. There's still supposed neutrinos that we don't know if they exist or not and stuff like that. And yeah, the sort of distinction between within the quantum world between experimental physics, which is very cool, from like a, I don't know, I don't want to say something bad, but yeah, it's cool. But also like once you observe something or you measure it, it's like, cool, it's there. Experimental and theoretical physics is very interesting. Wonder Bucket, I apologize for using the word dimension if it was triggering. We got too many. There's too many atheists here, guys. Y'all got kind of mean. Y'all got kind of nasty. Maybe this is social media and the internet, right? We're just in grouping, baby. There ain't a single Christian in the audience right now that's willing to step up. Come debate me on Christianity. Come debate me on atheism. I don't know. I've done that. I've called into shows. I did, I forgot what his name is. Some guy's kind of new to YouTube, but he's been growing fast. He did a call-in debate show, and he ended up interviewing me for like 10 minutes of the 15 minutes we had. And then at the end, he just said, no, and just disagreed. He disagreed that we just disagree. I don't know, just say we disagree. Just say you didn't have anything you could say back to me. You said you wanted to have a discussion. Let's talk. Let me clap at that, right? Let me clap at that. Thank you, everybody. Weighing in at 135 pounds. Hailing from Nebraska. In the blue corner, representing Texaco and Shell Oil Company, as well as Modelo, we have some random Christian apologist. Thank you, guys. Weighing in at 252 pounds. In the green corner, hailing from Palo Alto, right off Google Boulevard. Representing all tech companies, we have YouTube. You guys do boxing? Rebel Duster says wah wah. I don't know, did Fatty change your guys' mind? It won't get worse than 3 dimensions, says Travis. See, this is what happens. You guys made that guy leave the channel. This is what happens when you lose someone that was participating in a conversation. We can't do that. I don't know. Maybe my phone's frozen. Y'all there? Good to see everybody. We are having a productive conversation. Let's keep trying to do that. Who knows? I'll just go to YouTube and delete all of my moderators. I can highlight and control and click delete. If you guys don't want to have a good conversation, we'll start over tomorrow. I'm just kidding. But what do you expect someone to do? Right? It was your channel. Collective consciousness is gangster. Yeah. So this is an interesting question about social media and religion, by the way. So let's put it this way. If you're a creator or you're an apologist, you're a content creator or you're an apologist for Jesus, or you're an atheist commentator, whatever makes it easy for you to see. You have to be able to go out and create and produce content every single day, right? You have to have that ability. And so if you start at the beginning and you decide you want to make a channel, or you're deciding which channel you want to kind of check out or something like that, if you say that my channel is about theology or my channel is about, exegesis, right? We're talking about the interpretation of the Bible, or this is this is about Yahweh and salvation and damnation. You don't get a choice to not make content about that. And so when we talk about whether or not Gen Z and Gen Alpha now, as well as what millennials and Gen Xers and older folks, what we all talk about, well, we're still going to the same watering holes. Are those watering holes actually poisoned at this point? Aren't we starting to sort of see and look at this funny aspect that that if I make a channel about a topic that I don't care about, versus maybe it is a topic I care about. Maybe I care about world religion so much it doesn't matter. But instead of doing that, right? Instead of looking at sort of like total subscribers or looking at like who's in the audience or something like that, what if it became or becomes the case that the topic that I choose is just such that I can't be honest while making content every single day? Shouldn't it be the case then? Wouldn't we imagine that it is the case that I imagine the world as being somewhat more difficult to make content and be honest in that environment, right? Like, at what point is a person talking about theology or religion? This is what I'm like really deeply wanting to talk about or discuss, is like, shouldn't it be the case that if you're talking about religion, you can be a good Christian and good faith while you're doing that? Even if I'm an atheist, maybe I'm an atheist and I'm like, like, don't blow back too hard. I want to learn about theology. It's good because there's lots of people. There are Muslims, there's Christians that have a specific worldview. Shouldn't it be the case that I'm able to sort of take a little information away from almost anyone? And so, yeah, it's important in the first place to sort of pick and decide on the topic that a person talks about. Wonder Bucket says, what's wrong with reading the first book ever printed? Nothing. Isn't that law or something? Wasn't one of the first written, no, that's not like the first written text, but one of the first like coherent, socially relevant texts is Hammurabi's Code, which is talking about a rule of law for what we would say a primitive civilization. So lots of complexity still in the big scheme of things, but maybe just compared to, like, I don't know what it is, whatever. I don't know. Y'all there? Can y'all still hear me? We got I'm not seeing any chats come through. I don't know if my side froze, if I got taken off of YouTube or something. I don't see any chats coming through. Let's see. Who knows? Top messages. Just refresh chat. That was the right answer. Alperer, good to see you. Rebel Duster, SM Marty. Hi guys, how are y'all doing today? Hello. What's your opinion on the song Ram Ranch? I haven't heard it. Mad Molt, thank you though for asking. Forgiving Dragon, hot shower will cleanse you more than all of this psychological gumbo. We haven't talked about Freud or Jung or something like that. Let me know where the psychological mumbo jumbo comes in. I laid out my argument. If you want to respond to the fact that I don't think people like Jay Dyer or Andrew Wilson or even William Lane Craig can be producing so many YouTube videos, so many debates, and stay honest to people. I don't think it's fair for young folks as part of Gen Z or Gen Alpha. Bob, good to see you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Bob so far, and thanks to all of our mods in chat who've been holding it down. You guys want to say what's up to them, say thanks, please do. Waja Louis says, so no one cares if I don't figure out how to do a backflip? No. Yeah, you do you. I think it has to do with physics, inertia or something. Inertia and the center of gravity. Can anyone lend me money until Friday evening? Finally on vacation, but broke. Please do not post your link in my chat. And I mean this affectionately. I just timed you out for a minute, bro, if you want to hang out, but this is not a public fundraising channel. I don't know who you are, so no offense. Thank you, though. In your analysis, your approach is philosophical. I think it's social commentary first and foremost. Yeah, absolutely. So it is. If we want to talk about knowledge in terms of, I can grant you, if you're a social media creator, if you're on social media and you say, well, my audience knows Jesus is the way, the truth, the light, I can tell you, well, all you did, like, I can grant you that. I can accept and tell you that I believe it's true. Your audience knows Jesus is the way, the truth, the light. But what I also mean by that, what I'm putting together, what I'm putting down is that you just got together 1,000 people who knows what saying Jesus is the way, the truth, the light means. Maybe they have these weird things. They say, I sleep better when I pray before I go to bed. Or, I digest my food better. I'm more productive when I pray before a meal. That's cool. I can grant you that you then have knowledge that having a personal creator makes you more charitable, makes you live a more fulfilling life. But I can't grant you much outside of that. And so that is the philosophical component, that if you're not making a claim, then I have every right. If you're not making a claim beyond what your audience knows, then I have a right to also ask the question if social media is corrupting religion and why that's important, how it is atheists and theists should talk about religion, whether you are Muslim, Jewish, or Christian. Those are all relevant cases. Those are all relevant cases. How many tacos is too many tacos? I don't know. I think the most tacos I have I'll have 6 mini tacos if I'm hungry. Great question. That sort of language, and this is from Forgiving Dragon again, that sort of language and reasoning is not present amongst the chosen prophets. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Yep. Yeah, if you can, I don't know if this is who knows, maybe the line, like Matt Dillahunty, those types of guys are bad guys for asking people to say this or do this. Maybe they're not, but yeah, if you can show evidence or, what's the case? If we've got, I tell you, there's 25 people here, I'm happy to discuss the topic you want. What would you suggest? What's just your belief, or what's the right topic, or, whatever it is, to talk about the prophets not having some sort of epistemic criteria or anything. Robin Webster. Hey, everyone say hi to Robin in chat. One of our mods is here. Robin, good to see you. Oh, and Oxcat's here. What's up? OXCatXO, good to see you. Cat's one of my other good friends online, so good to see you. Um, yeah, corruption. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Yeah, if you want to try a different message, it'll be good to see you in chat. We're talking about society, social media, religion stuff. I don't even know, dude. I'm sorry. Opinion on a turducken for Thanksgiving. I don't know. I am a plant-based eater, if you ask. So I don't have an opinion on a turducken. Is it good for your family? Then cook a turducken. You can go to the store and buy one. What of the religions is your favorite? Probably Buddhism. If I'm being honest, my favorite religion. I'm Duck, by the way, if you're new here. Good to meet you. Come say hi in chat or something. If you want to like and subscribe, greatly appreciated. My favorite religion, if I had to pick one, is probably Buddhism. Maybe not like a really orthodox or like establishment Buddhism, but the metaphysics of Buddhism are fascinating. The systems of logic used are fascinating. Buddhism is very friendly, compatible, non-competing with what I would say is most modern science. Maybe there's a few places where it try and bat you down a little bit, but yeah, good question. Would Jesus be a schizophrenic by today's standards? Who knows? Who knows? There's a whole study, a whole area of study called the historical Jesus. It is a big deal. Historical Jesus is a very big deal in like all of academia. What you get out of it is sometimes just a historical overview of what Jesus is like. Some people might argue there are more intersectional perspectives when you do actual history as well. Because why not? You tell people, you are an indigenous woman or you're a trans person and Jesus lived the most perfect human life ever. What does that mean? Well, you might have an opinion about that. What about a black person? Is there such a thing as a black Jesus? No, it's just Jesus, right? Maybe you think you have a version of a historical Jesus. That is historical Jesus still. So I don't think Jesus would be schizophrenic, but if you're looking at the historical Jesus, then you can look at different time periods even and say, well, how poor people throughout history dealt with this idea that the story of Jesus has been used as a tool for oppression or has been leveraged in different ways. It's been controlling in the church. That's not that. And just to go back to the main topic, that isn't social media, guys. That's really different, right? That's academia. It's something maybe we can talk about. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me we can talk about religion on social media. Tell me how you guys make really good content about religion or philosophy or whatever it is, about sports cars, about Conor McGregor. I apologize to absolutely no one. I don't know. I'm a little awkward. Sorry. God's divinity comes from how he relates to his children through his word and impartations. Opinion on reality of living on Mars. I don't think it's possible without a depopulation on a mass scale. Yeah, absolutely. It's a complex, high-risk mission with a lot of different phases. Each one of those phases, especially when you have multiple payloads to actually get to Mars, have different levels of risk associated with them, and you add those levels of risk up to actually say how well a mission would go. I think it's great to be exploratory and audacious. I also think those types of initiatives, like when you have, my perspective is when you have exploration and responsibilities on our own planet around things like energy security, yeah, there's a reason we should still be audacious and inventive. And it's also true that just psychologically, I'm sort of a brick, right? I'm a big fan of keeping kind of funding for science and stuff like that. But as someone who's like Mr. Type A responsible, let's go. Call out, right? That's my opinion of Mars. Sorry to be a little too weird or whatever. It's just Jesus, true. Hey, individualistic mind, good to see you. I don't know if you've been here, but sorry. Good to see you. Would you rather watch a tree grow? Hey, Detroit Lions lover, good to see you again. Good to see the same pun as yesterday. If you got another joke or something, maybe something within TOS and appropriate, it's great to have you here. I'm just going to remove that comment and not time you out, brother. It is good to see you. How old is the world according to the Bible? Well, they did when they do the math, I think it's between like 5,500, 5,000, and 7,500 years old. I think, I don't know, you can Google it. There's lots of Christian websites with lots of SEO. Just like there's probably lots of atheist websites with surface level stories about Earth's history. Gina Davis says 8 == sign D. I don't totally know what that means, but good to see you, Gina. Rotstream, Total Recall is my favorite Mars movie. Spooky, bro. Spooky, bro. I listen to Jesus music, yet I just don't like what was heard and seen by Newsboys singer. Yeah, the Christian band I used to listen to was called Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was a very hard to see as a Christian band, very pop punk. Even when I was a Catholic or a Christian, I didn't listen to a ton of Christian music. So, not sure. I had a copy of 2001 The Chronic on a burnt CD. I had a bunch of stuff I wasn't allowed to have, but that was the music I liked. What do you think of the Saudi royal that said the Iron Age didn't end with the lack of iron? I don't know. I don't know enough about history or that quote. I just don't have anything. Does God love science and technology? He gave us free will to advance our world. Yeah, that's sort of Spinoza's God. The universe is ordered, right? If you're Immanuel Kant, maybe you believe in God, but you say you always have the category of space-time. If I forgot what Plato said exactly, but Plato was, I think, a polytheist, and you also have a world of forms or something, and you have illusions. Maybe there's some toiling within the true nature of things for everybody. And so who knows? You can misapply technology. There's probably like cool narratives and stories and stuff there. I would bet there is. I don't know how there wouldn't be. Sub, thanks. I seen your love the other day when people thought you were on drugs. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. We do workout videos sometimes. We do some of these talks. It's all good. Yeah. Someone's making a joke about Keurigs in chat. Grace set free. Do you believe Jesus existed? What are your thoughts? Yeah, in reality, I would feel like if Jesus existed, there's a very low probability that he actually existed throughout history as the person he existed as. How many times can I say the same word? Yeah, this is what the historical Jesus study is about, is that, well, if Jesus was a person, is there evidence? What can we take for granted knowing what we know about that time for what that Jesus may or must have been like? Who was a Roman rebel? He was a convict, right? Dangerous guy, dangerous person. But yeah, throughout history, as Jesus is redefined in all different roles, I rarely think that people have talked about when you think of actual exegesis of what Jesus must have been, which I think if you're an atheist, and I am an atheist, like that generally means like this sort of sets the North and the South for our conversation, tells us how far we can go, what we come back to. So that's my answer to that question. Do you believe Jesus existed? My thoughts are that Jesus has rarely been talked about as he actually existed, if he did. And I don't know that he did. So no and yes. Time is lines in space. Yeah, time's fascinating. Time is interesting. There's a lot of philosophy about time. Different opinions, right? I think it's worth learning about A series and B series time in philosophy. If you guys are into philosophy, it's one of those like sort of, people say like mushroom LSD trip topics. Really crazy, very abstract to think about what time actually is or might be, where you're actually taking a picture or putting a video, like what, if you have the whole story of time, what do you choose? But yeah, Big Street Cat says time is lines in space. And yeah, just in my view, I know you're not asking for my opinion, but I personally, because I'm a little more sort of nihilist, I think we have almost we've spent a lot of time and intellectual energy building up an opinion about time, and there's not a ton of evidence that time is even a real concept. Oh, bro, you've been online all day. Yeah, Dante. Dante is my dad, mom in chat or something. No. Yep. William Legg says, "Are you homeless? If I was, it wouldn't be your business if I was homeless." I don't know why you're asking, and so that's my answer to you. Those two things. None of your business. I don't know why you're asking. Big Street Bumbleclat says Jesus walked on water. Big Street Bumbleclat. Jesus walked on water. That would be one of Jesus's miracles according to the Bible and according to, I think, every knowable organized form of Christianity. Halo Draco. Yeah, is it a sin if you go to church fried like a grilled cheese sandwich? I don't know. That's your choice, bro. I'm an atheist, so I don't think so. If I was a Christian, I would say, you don't think so. I'm not judging you, but you can judge yourself. Is that social media as well? I ain't gonna judge a man, but I know a liar when I see one. What do you guys think? What is it with you Democrats denying him? You Democrats denying him. Yeah, I don't know. You guys don't like the Randian objectivism. You guys reject and rebuke Fox News giving all that airtime to folks that wanted liberal ANCAP systems based on individuals. What did I miss? Yeah, Wrestling News. If I can be more rational, let me know, brother. Let me know. Do I believe in psychic powers? I don't know. Do I believe in physics? Psychic powers? No, it's cool though. It's very cool. What color shade hue is my privilege? Whatever you want, Eric. Whatever you want. Yeah. You guys seen GOP Jesus before? Oh. Yeah. I know a lot of Catholics that voted Democrat because of social justice, right? I don't remember seeing in the Bible that you have a right to property. If I remember the Bible correctly, it was leave all behind and follow me. This is what you guys get for listening to social media too much. That's what we're talking about today. If you guys are just joining, good to see you. My name is Duck. This is Duck's Why. We're talking about if modern religion has been contextualized and colored and described by social media. Social media and modern religion? Very crazy topic. Right now, we're talking about whether or not Democrats and Republicans have a right to be Christian or something. Are Democrats not religious? I personally, I'll take the position of atheism. I like having a discussion. I like talking about theology. I like Christianity. I'm a former Catholic. One thing that I'll tell you, though, that seems true to me is that people on both parties can make voting choices because of the real world and because of ethical reasons. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm a creator, all this other stuff, whatever. That stuff doesn't matter that much. I don't. But yeah, when I was Roman Catholic, we had tons of people that would volunteer at the clothing bank or the food bank or a Catholic rescue mission that did rehab and housing, heat shelters, those types of things. Not like this was a life-saving endeavor, except for the cases where it was. But those were often Christians. Where exactly do we see, maybe the far-right Christian national, which is so popular, so fun, it's so hot to talk about on social media, for Gen Z and for Gen Alpha, for millennials, for Gen Xers, for the boomers and the doomers. Couldn't I be a little bit skeptical? Was I not right to title this video, "Is Modern Religion Contextualized by Social Media?" You guys, and tell me why I'm wrong, when I'm wrong. Maybe it's the case that it is more fun, right? I agree with you. It's more fun to talk about eschatology, about life and death, about damnation, about revelations and all that other stuff. It's wrong to talk about that stuff at church with a pastor, but it's right to talk about it on social media when it's fun and exciting. When I was Catholic, and I'm not telling you to go talk to an adult or another adult about what you think happens after you die, but when I was in school, my Catholic priest would have told me, he would have said, well, it's in the book of Revelations, and what do you think? Is it allegorical? Is this an allegory? What does the gospel say about God's love for man? On social media, where do you hear such brevity, such that essence of, I'll talk to you if you want to talk to me, but I don't give a shit. On social media, we're not allowed that space or that privilege. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Oh, game over, baby. Joel Osteen is a good preacher, better than Bisman. You guys probably know more than I do about all this. You guys might know more than I do about specific preachers. I've heard William Lane Craig. What are they called? Clint and his brother. They do street epistemology. They do debates. Jesus Christ is Lord. And that's the other thing. Yeah, I'll just say the same point again. If someone says, 90% of my followers on social media know that Jesus Christ died for their sins, all I can say about that is that 90% of the audience personally believes that Jesus died for their sins, and I can grant that. And we could have a conversation about why that is a powerful idea for you personally. It also might be the case that I can't really say that much more about that. Whoops, my phone's doing something funny. Oh, Alfonso, good to see you. Hello, welcome to the channel. Yeah, if you guys are new here and want to like and subscribe, I appreciate it. Obito, am I banned? Banned. No, we try not to ban people here. If someone does something really egregious, we will tell them, you're gone for 24 hours, and we want people to come back. We want people that want to just have these sort of social commentary discussions, politics, philosophy. If we can slip in a couple minutes of big brain stuff, we try and do that. If we can have some fun, whatever. So Obito, I don't know, if you said something really offensive, it would be banned. Joseph Reyes says Trump. I don't know why. The YouTube auto moderator, Joseph, if you're still here, the auto moderator blocked the message. Maybe it thought the flags were spam. Some of y'all's messages are getting blocked. The big beautiful bill is beautiful, says Joseph Reyes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand. If you want to expand on why you think that. The big beautiful bill being beautiful, cutting government waste or something is what some people might say. When in fact, economists have already warned us. This is just shuffling around problems that exist. There's no actual mechanism to create economic wealth, and it deepens our debt. It doesn't reduce government waste. It doesn't reduce anything except welfare and taxes. So, Lies, you're not muted. Oh, bro, I'm getting trolled. I'm getting trolled. I'm from Argentina. Could you say PCGC? What's up? Is that MIA? Hey, good to see you, bro. Pink cheese, green ghost. Whatever you want. Hashtag moving forward says Jesus died with no agenda, only a purpose to save souls. All right. Sounds good. We ain't banning shit, boy. Nothing's getting banned. I thought it was MLK who died for our sins. Martin Luther King. What about Martin Luther? Protestant Reformation? Any of my Protestant friends here? I had a couple evangelical friends growing up. I remember all that. That's from Angel Solace. Let's see. He tried to trick you. He deserves a ban, but that's your call, obviously. I don't know what you're talking about. He was a head research organizer, Donald Trump's uncle. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know. You guys feel in control? Do you guys feel in control? Do you guys feel secure? Your psychology, right? Do we feel secure or insecure when we are talking about social media or something? When we're talking about how other people are making decisions that might impact our lives? How does everybody do this? How does everybody apply for a job? How does everybody pay taxes? How does everybody comment on social media? How does everybody do all this other stuff? Does that make you feel more or less secure? Joseph Reyes, who's talking about the Big Beautiful Bill in chat, says the Big Beautiful Bill will make us have the first Great Wall of America. Yeah, absolutely. So, Joseph, I don't know what you're actually talking about. It sounds like you have a personal worldview. If you want to make this political for other people, other than just linking arms with people, I would encourage you to do that. A lot of people are saying the Big Beautiful Bill actually increases macroeconomic risk, macro political risk. It doesn't solve problems. It deepens a debt crisis. It also further declarifies the actual separation of powers when taken as part of Trump's overall presidential package. And so when you add all this up, you imagine that there's going to be lots of stories of injustices coming out. And some of those are actually planned in that same Big Beautiful Bill. We didn't even get to the fact that Medicare and Medicaid, we didn't even get to the fact that that social safety net has never been part of a public conversation. And so that was Joseph Reyes. Joseph Reyes, if you have more to say about the Trump Big Beautiful Bill or more than rhetoric, please, I would invite you to say that. Thank you. And chat, you guys can hold each other accountable, ask each other questions. Maybe you don't feel like doing political banter or religious debates in chat. That's also cool. Let me know how I'm doing. Hit those react buttons on the bottom right or whatever. Have a good time. It's good to see everybody tonight. We've been going for about 2 hours so far. If you guys have a topic, question, comment, concern, whatever it is that you guys want to talk about, I also want to have that conversation. Being able to push out of our own head how the world might actually be. What do you guys think? Are you guys that controlled and nuanced? You guys know how to do small things in terms of taking small ideas and expand them, big ideas and make them smaller. When you guys get told by Sean Hannity that whatever it is, I heard someone say there's 40 million illegal immigrants in the United States. Do you know how to make that idea smaller? You make it factual. You make it right. Where does data about illegal immigration come from in the US? Anywhere? I don't know. It's worth just correcting or bumping that back into place, isn't it? Isn't it, big bro? Isn't it, little bro? Who does that? I don't know. God bless the USA, says Joseph Reyes. Thank you very much. Yes, Christian nationalism, as well as just people having faith while living in the United States. Those are all big things. Spider-Man strongly supports a social web. That's pretty funny. Derek's been asking interesting, good questions all night. I would love to check out what he's got to say. He's loading up, it looks like. Somebody get Derek the chat question, beer bong, bro, and crack some tin for him, man. He's about to drop bombs on us, you know? Derek's dropping bombs, and I'm not being facetious. Being a voodoo witch doctor, I do, however, manifest things into existence. That's pretty sick. Guys, we have Santeria in chat. We have moving forward. If you actually do that pagan, vegan, witch stuff, sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of you. But that's pretty cool. I'm glad you're popping stuff into existence. Raleigh J, good to see you. Blacksmith Queens, how long have you had the whatever? And you know what? Do you have something better to say? What do you want to talk about? What? Where are you at? Come out. You look like a pillow biter. You look like you are scared to share an honest, earnest, heartfelt opinion. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah, Travis, go for it if you want. If you don't believe in laws or rules, then whatever, but yeah, you do 10 seconds or a minute or whatever. Yeah, Derek, did you have a question? Sorry, I didn't mean to. What I'm trying to say is Jesus was an illusionist, and if we sent a magician back in time, we could consider him to be holy. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, Jesus had a nonlinear way of doing things. He had a paraconsistent way of accomplishing something. That's always so fascinating to me. It's always so fascinating to me. How do you come up with paraconsistent or nonlinear ideas? I don't know. Nah, he's scared. Oh, nah, he's scared. All right. Cool. Appreciate that. Mog for us. What do you want to mog, bro? You get a little twist in the spine, the hips. What are we talking? What are we mogging? Do I believe in God? No, I am an atheist personally. Talk about it. Yeah. I don't want to do an atheist channel though, right? I want to be able to talk about religion. If people want to talk about it, I'd rather talk about whether or not it's on social media or whatever. Can you shake some? Smithy, your last message got blocked, bro, by the automatic moderator. Not one of the humans here. Not one of the humans or whatever it was here. Sorry, dude. Sorry, bro. No, man. YouTube is savage, though, bro. So savage, actually, as it turns out. My bad, dude. Where is it? Yeah, Valwyn, if you want, we're talking about social media and Jesus. Robin, thank you for keeping the chat appropriate and all this stuff. We're talking about social media and religion. Is modern religion Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Millennials, Gen X? Are we getting too much information about modern religion from social media? How about that? How about it? I asked if it was hard to come out to your parents, tell them you like men. Yeah, that's not bad. I've tell people in the past that I'm a queer heterosexual, meaning I find it very easy to associate with queer culture while I am a traditional heteronormative white dude. I don't know what that is so hard about that. Yeah, so what I do in my day-to-day life is probably like what a lot of people do, but I also think some shit's fucked up or weird, dude. I don't know. It's my bad. What just happened, dude? What did I just do? Like gay bars too? Yeah, I've been to a couple gay bars with my friends in the past. Gay bars are fun for sure. Gay bars are definitely fun. I don't drink or anything now, but yeah, it'd be cool for young people. If you have a group of friends and a gay friend invites you to go out to a gay bar, go do it. People are generally cool and respectful. It's not like who would actually describe what a gay bar is like except someone who's been to a gay bar or the gay bar that you're going to, right? So that's cool. I'm straighter than a vector. Yeah, I don't know. That's like a math flex, but that, to be honest, bro, isn't like a cultural flex at all or anything. I think it's good to be gay, normative, right? If someone has a personal moral stance or they feel there's an objective moral stance that being gay is good, has created a culture above others, or there's ways to view it in that light, that's cool. That's a cool argument. That's a very fun argument to make, too. That would be a debate I would do. Super slow. Please start talking about Adolf's, Hitler's human crematorium. Super slow gay bars. Yeah. Do you have a specific question about the World War, Second World War? What happened? What happened? What should I say? Did they like it? Did Germany have fun? When did they start having a good time? What came next? What was it? How long ago was that? That was like 70 years ago, I think. I don't think... guys! Are you guys having... do you guys have actual questions? Yeah, so I'll read this one. Saraka 117 says, older gay folks are so chill. They are fun and positive, super clean. They are so good at building wealth. Yeah, in college, I had for a short period of time a job doing fundraising, going door to door. And yeah, sometimes we would go out to what was called the gayborhood, which is just where, like, statistically, there's a larger number of people of an LGBTQ plus identity living, and people open the door. They're very nice. Yeah, they're good people. They are, yeah, caring, cold, trusting. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, all old gay people are so chill. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think it's important to remember that if you are 60 years old and gay, when you are 30, so you're starting your career, was still in the early days of the internet. There was still a very evangelical political bend in the US back then, in the mid 90s. Lots of evangelical the Bush family, very evangelical, not like Donald Trump, very evangelical, very Bible based. A lot of people that believed that the United States was like a city on a hill for Christianity. And so that's where a lot of geopolitical criticism for the US comes from, but also in terms of being able to see the impact of political activations and seeing it takes 10, 15 years to even start a conversation on the federal level. Yeah, I think there's, when you see civil rights movements, if you want to say, well, civil rights leaders understand the political process, that's one thing you could say. Just reading through your guys' messages. Good to see you folks. Good to see everybody. Bring me out something good, guys. What's good that we're doing today? How are y'all doing? You cannot have unconditional love with a judgment. You cannot have true freedom of expression with limitation. Everything is God itself, expressing and experiencing self. There is no separation. Yeah, one, that's a very beautiful message. I would replace that for my own rephrasing if I could share my own stance on this. My own lived experience is just that without a self, with the self, can a self love unconditionally? Well, a self is functional. Even if I have a deeply moral, deeply fundamental, ingrained image of my own needs and stuff like this, wouldn't it be the case that that self also, that weird form of self doesn't totally disassociate from just sort of the apparent world in front of us, right? That's the brick wall you run into eventually. Travis just deleted a message that says, do you think it's good to be gay? Yeah, absolutely. So people can say, well, yeah, because some people might say, well, hey, look, maybe I had the same upbringing as everyone else, but maybe because I had a group of gay friends when I was younger, I learned to ask questions about my own morality. I learned to ask questions about how I should behave towards people. I learned to ask questions about my politics. I learned about how and who I were able to extend personhood to. I had a sort of more compassionate worldview. I don't believe everyone else has that, and therefore, because this is in some ways synonymous with a gay identity, or it can be attributed, just grant that this is something that some gay people might say, or I say personally, if someone's gay, then yeah, that would be an individual moral stance, and those are about objective things that I would say are objective morality. Hey, Travis, Robin, thank you guys for keeping chat clean. I appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions about the topic listed in the title of the video, if you guys want to talk about anything around either queer worldview or whatever, I'm not gay or anything, but yeah, I consider myself an ally. I try and say as much or as little as I can to kind of get a point across. God warns about spiritual haughtiness, which this guy has a lot of. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Can you say my name, Mia? Mia means mine in Spanish. Dandy fan, good to see you. Thanks for checking out our stream. It's good to see you. Can you share your objective? My objective morality? Maybe some other time. Big Street Cat, if you can ask a better question, I'll talk about my own duck stuff, but generally I kind of want to read messages and whatever. Greasy Cheers, can I ask a question? Yes, sorry, if I'm just getting to your guys' comments late, I'm going through trying to read stuff. If you guys have something you want to talk about, please do ask. Please do. D-backs fan, take a shave. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Baseball fan? Good to see you. Can I say happy birthday to Nadir? Hey, happy birthday, Nadir. I'd sing happy birthday to you. Zezo Gaming 333 is quite a good friend. Nadir, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday to you. Not good. You should be an ally to Gillette 4Blade. Yeah. No, it's been growing for 5 years, but when I do trim the sides, I can go through it feels like in a day or two, I can go through a razor. It's long. It's very long. It's very thick at this point. I wish you only a lucky day. Yeah, hell yeah. Everybody say happy birthday to Nadir. Let's go. Let's go, baby. I don't know. I hope you have a great day and a great week. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. As you get older, there's always more responsibility. So there's always at least that 5 minutes to enjoy the time you have. And then there's the 5 minutes to take life seriously. And then there's the 5 minutes to enjoy it again. And by the time you get to my age, you realize it's all the same thing. So happy birthday to you. Pale Odom, good to see you, homie. You look like Casio. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Ayed Bakar, stop yapping. Stop yapping. Ayed Bakar. I'm just messing with you. Looks good. Thanks, homie. I appreciate it. Aaron Williams says, life is short. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. This is something for, I don't know, some of those folks some folks on here have purpose-driven mindsets. I don't know if any of y'all got a purpose-driven mindset, but, when you get old enough, you got to ask the question about, how important is the day that I planned for myself today? How important is it? How important is it? A lot of times I think it's the simple stuff. I don't mean to be like super selfish, but if I can get my 5-minute workout in, if I can eat healthy, if I feel like I have control over a choice, I don't know. I don't have dad advice about that stuff. That's why y'all need a dad, because then a dad has dad advice about that stuff. Yeah, at least you ask, right? That's the joke. That's funny you say that, Big Street Cat. I got a freaking, what's it called? I got apple pastry bites, or one of the vegan things they got at the grocery store by my house. So I had apple bites. What do you guys think? Should I go looking for more vegan desserts? Should we do mukbangs? We're doing mukbangs. We're just going full lolcat mode. I think that's what you get when you challenge the YouTube universe. You turn into, I didn't know this word lolcat. I didn't know BBL meant like a Brazilian butt lift. I don't know all of this stuff. I'm totally not set up for any of it. Totally not set up for any of it. Who's your guys' favorite YouTube short creators? Who's your favorite YouTubers and stuff? Yeah, so all that stuff. Any of you guys doing content creation and all that stuff? Any of you guys on that grind? It's good to see you. Yeah, you guys, it doesn't matter when you talk about like religion or philosophy, any of these sort of serious topics, there's always going to be 1,000 things getting thrown at you. There's actually 10 times more depth, 10 to 15 times more depth than you actually think there is. So one of the things I would recommend is that as you're building sort of your range and the sort of topics you want to cover, as you get to know your audience, I don't know. Just invest time in doing something you enjoy. Xander says, I'm a YouTuber. Cool. Some guy says, I'm on OnlyFans. That's awesome. I look like Casio. Just found lives. Let's go. I've never made content. I don't want to knock Rogan out from one. Oh, do I look like I got punched in the face, guys? Do I look like emo duck? I look so emo, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a battle every day, right? It's so hard to log on to YouTube Shorts on my cell phone, guys. Feels like a battle. Like I've been getting punched. You understand? You can say back what I'm saying to you? No, you can't. Can you say back what I'm saying to you? You don't understand it. People don't like that realization. I don't like that realization when it's like, oh shoot, I didn't spend time studying. I didn't spend time on the things I should have. People define themselves in terms of ancestry, religion, language, history, values, customs, and institutions. They identify with cultural groups, tribes, ethnic groups, religious communities, nations, and at the broadest level, civilizations. People use politics not just to advance their interest, but also to define their identity. We know who we are only when we know we are not, and often only when we know whom we are against. You guys have to have a sense of greatness about you. This is one thing that I would blame the United States for, even though I consider myself very pro-American, is if you cannot understand a small form of greatness within you, a small form of greatness within you, or you're too afraid to look away or to go find it. Oh, let that fear set you free, chitlins. Let that fear set you free. I don't know. You can just be the guy that's always wandering, always journeying, always searching. Everybody blames sectarian violence on sectarianism. Nobody just wants to blame it on a bad government in the first place. Multiculturalism, says Samuel Huntington, is in essence anti-European civilization. It is basically an anti-Western ideology. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say, and Europeans go crazy. Have you been out of the country? Yes, I have a couple times. I'm in the United States. I've been to Mexico a couple times. I've been to Canada a couple times. I used to work in Canada. I've been to Europe. I've been to Italy, France. Arizona, yes, indeed. Indeed. Humanity. Meditation, not prayer. Prayer is Christianity's talking to your creator. Hell yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to like and subscribe, that's awesome. My name is Duck. This channel is called Duck's Why. I love doing these live streams. I do some of the lolcow stuff, I suppose, is what we're doing now. I like having serious conversations about topics like religion and social media. I like being able to take honest, heartfelt approaches. If you guys want to even punch into what important people like Don Lemon or Piers Morgan or Tim Pool or Destiny or whoever it is, whoever your favorite commentators are saying, let's talk about it. If you guys want to do social commentary around stuff like the P. Diddy trial, let's talk about that stuff too. You are starting to look rough, Joggers Farm, yeah. No joke, bro. No joke. Yes. Yes. Serious question. What is God? That is a good question. It says, this is from Hippoplatypus. I don't know. I think God is a supernatural concept that is minimally necessitated. That's not psychobabble. That's not just off the cuff. That is what I would define God as, is a supernatural being that is, or a being that is beyond or not synonymous with nature, that is minimally necessitated. If I can axiomatically reason and accept that, oh, the laws of physics give us space for what a God can or must be like, I could grant that minimally necessitated God is a God. Stop commenting on people's appearance. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, guys, I have a high-functioning form of autism. I don't know how to handle all that lolcow stuff, or if you guys are talking about a topic, I don't always know how to respond to it. I don't mind. Hang out. I'm old, right? I'm old and tough as nails, as they say. Funny. I'm good at doing accents. What do you guys think? Does your favorite VTuber get this close to the camera? Can they? Can they reach out and touch you? Can they touch the microphone? What's more important? I don't know. Good to see you all. Thank you for checking in. Have you seen Anakin? He's with the younglings. Do you ever debate in good faith, or is it all to cause drama and to make more money? Mark, I don't know where you see on my channel that I have made a penny on social media. What do you think, Mark? Am I due after contributing to other people's channels and discords and stuff like that? Does that make me due up to make money, Mark? Because if you said that a different way, I'm sure we could either have a conversation or I could kick your ass off my channel if you want to be an asshole. Oh shoot, Obi-Wan Kenobi's here. So I have a question for Obi-Wan. What was the hardest lesson to learn from your master? Is it about spacing on the light bridge or whatever it was? Yawerger's Farm says, you missed my subject. Look, I can look up channel activity and I can say, subject, what does the colors of the gay flag mean? I don't know. What does it mean? That doesn't seem like a topic as much as a question first and then the topic. A subject to me, and I don't mean to be critical, but a subject to me would be saying the gay flag was designed to represent or to mean, what do you take this to mean or something? No offense. Robin Webster says, I was a Christian for 45 years, then I studied biology, cosmology, and the Bible, and see no God. You guys can ask Robin, if you guys came here to discuss social media and religion, and you have a question, you have a comment, Robin probably knows it, or Robin can talk to you about it for sure. If you guys want, thank you, Robin, for being here tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Robin is a very smart person. I don't know why, but YouTube recommended your channel. Cool. Thanks, Israel Reed. Good to see you. We talk about politics. We talk about philosophy. Sometimes talk about religion. I do some workout videos and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. We try and have important conversations without talking down to someone. If we can at least hold it where it's at, maybe make stuff a little bit more interesting, a little bit better, right? Separating some of the subjective or interpersonal sort of our own mess with each other. I try and be good faith. We try and have discussions, a lot of audience engagement. So thank you for clicking in and good to see you. Nice beard, bro. Yeah, and I've had my beard for like 5 years. So, yeah. Big Street Cat, please do not be smoking Luke Skywalker because that is also harassment, which I think is a violation of TOS. So no smoking Luke Skywalker. Bro, comb your beard. It's nasty work. Lerm Faizan. Yeah, Lem Faizan. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, if you have a beard, you know. It's a lot easier to leave it alone. Yeah, that's the nice thing about natural and nice big hair. I'm not recommending it, but just from like the personal aesthetic view is that once you have it, it can turn into a hot mess, like a really hot mess. Like as a derogatory statement, people say I look homeless when I'm working out and stuff. But it's also, it doesn't take all that much to like kind of, clean it up a little bit, right? It looks fine. Yeah. If people grant you that, you look like a normal adult human, kind of pursuing the same things as anyone else, you can fix it soon. Will you shave the beard at any point? I don't know. Josu G, I ain't got to tell you if I was, bro. You don't think I didn't shave? Yeah, it's not like I don't have like a strange belief about my beard, but I just don't want to shave it. Bob says RLTW DOL. I don't know what that is. Oh, cool. Bob's. Oh, that's what we did yesterday. Yesterday we had folks here that were part of the MK Beta program, which is the lesser known cousin of MK Ultra, where the CIA made some people be really Six Sigmas and Alphas and stuff. They called it MK Beta because they never want you to know. They never would. Not really, right? What do you guys do to get sick? Let me ask chat this right now. What do you guys do when you need to get really sick really fast? What kind of prep work do you got? I'm not asking what's in your bug out bag. I'm asking about what you bring, phone, wallet, keys. What do you do to get sick and ill for Uncle Sam? If you haven't banned me, I was asking about your personal experience with other channels that you debates on politics and religion. Yeah, I do have. I've got some sort of like friends, YouTube friends in the blood sport debate and debate space. I mod on a channel that does open Discord discussions, run by one of the guys who's a moderator on the politics Discord. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've done one formal debate in God of the Gaps. I would recommend folks, if you guys like talking on the internet, and you think you have something valuable to say, a lot of channels do open panels and stuff like that. Those are fun. It's always difficult to find good debate topics and debaters. Debates are both a skill, as well as, you kind of need to have parity between debaters, or else it's just clumsy. It's not that much fun. In a lot of cases, like one side of the audience is going to get the sort of butt end of it, because if you're the better debater, your points just don't get responded to. Nobody wants to listen to someone arguing about faith, or arguing about politics, or arguing about education, arguing about peace or war, when nobody can clap back, right? You're supposed to clap back. You're supposed to be able to go around or go into something, right? If you don't have that ability to sort of drive a strategic narrative, and you can't really simplify sort of your points for the sake of the other debater. So yeah, Mark, that's my point. Sorry. War on drugs or legalize. Yeah, drugs are illegal, so I think there is a appropriate security response, both in terms of national and local police, as well as if there's an aspect of diplomacy or power projection for drugs. I don't think there's like an a priori reason to say no to that. I also think that if you only get one side of that equation, obviously what's going to grow is violence and the externalities from the war on drugs. Am I a master debater? Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at debates. I know how to argue. I know how to craft an argument. I know enough about rhetoric. I know enough about speech. Speech is a big part. If any of you guys are interested in speech or debate or anything like that, knowing what grammar is, so knowing when your opponent, like if you can just sketch out and generally know what a subject versus an object is in a sentence, be aware when someone is building up a concept or term. And then in terms of semantics and linguistics, if you know when someone is signifying something and what that signified thing is, what they mean by it. In debates, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to lose sight of the topic. Some people think it's just talking. In reality, most of the time it's just that you didn't do any research. You didn't do your homework. You didn't put together an argument. You didn't have an argument. Work in threes is a great, easy rhetorical tool. Sometimes it's how the universe works, but sometimes it's a lens for the audience to get a big bucket of truth in a small amount of time. So my three-part argument when I did a God of the Gaps debate was that, I forgot what it was. It was that, one, that any way to suppose that God isn't a God of the Gaps actually opens up the gap itself. That was my first argument, which is very painful, nasty debate tactic. It's kind of rude, but so if I'm saying every God is a God of the gaps, and you have to say, well, what about this well, that's a gap that you're pointing out. It was that, and then what else? My other point was that science doesn't have gaps. I wanted to debate about that. So that's why I included that point, was that science doesn't have gaps. And I forgot what the third point was. But yeah, so like being able to make a 3-point argument and kind of write it out, being able to think in sentences and paragraphs, all that kind of stuff. Hey, Gabriella, hello. Good to see you. Brianna Morningstar. How would one be able to look to fear birth? I don't know about what birth is. The birth of fear or fearing birth? I don't know. I am not pregnant, nor one that gets pregnant, nor going to talk about that. So good to see you all. Mauro Augusto Mija says, too many stupid people run it for the rest of their lives, and that's why we can't have nice things. Cool. Yeah, if you showed up from the algorithm, hello. If you guys want to like and subscribe, we do talk politics, philosophy talk. Feel free to hang out and all that stuff. Pack fresh. My point exactly. How are you going to fear death when it happens? You won't even know. I don't know what all y'all are talking about, but good to see everybody, some of the folks that just joined. Yeah, so yeah, that's one of the interesting things is like, if you're talking about debate and discussion and stuff like that, a lot of times that like at least one person in your audience is repeating points that they heard from mom and dad and stuff like that. At least one person is there because they want to consider both sides, or they want to see a brutal beatdown or something. And so if you are building a position and argument, you want to be ready to defend your position and stuff like that. But also, the power of having your own perspective, your own opinion, like that's so important. And what an opinion actually is, all it means, like the textbook definition of an opinion, it means two things. One is just like a casual belief. My opinion is that, this blue hat is nicer than this colored hat, than this colorful, I work out in one or whatever. Just Narbro. And this one, this was a gift, so I take care of that hat. My blue hat I take care of. But you can also have an opinion where it's like, this is a belief formed because of evidence and facts. I have reasons to believe it. And so if the evidence supports a conclusion that you have about that, that's a better argument. Like I've noticed recently 100 times out of 100, that, I have my own perspective. This is my one small lens. I don't need to win the world to win this debate. But if I'm a little more correct about this one thing, then in general, I win the debate. I'm correct. Your God took good men from me. I don't think I'd like them. I want to go away. Your God took good men from me. I don't think I'd like them very much. Yeah. Yeah, I think Bob was talking about veteran stuff before. I'm not a veteran. I think it's important that we nurture our nation's warriors. Nurturing happens in a lot of places, and it seems to coalesce in both these downward, upward motions where we see VA isn't taking care of folks the way that it should. We also see that, imbalances in inequality ends up consolidating. Consolidating in ways that maybe it shouldn't. And so, my own politics, and this is what I believe it was Hamilton or Madison wrote about in the Federalist, is that you look at me, I look at you. I'm a civilian. You're serving our country, so you look at me now, I look at you. So my opinion is that we need to have strict processes for peace. We need to have an understandable international diplomatic package and platform that we're pursuing. When that doesn't happen, it always appears that we're almost mimicking this like pre-conflict sort of mindset. And being able to at some point in time have some sort of like whatever it's called. Have a dialogue about ways to promote peace and promote anyone's welfare. This is okay. So I think part of like one thing about our topic today, I wrote about social media. I wrote about social media and fucking religion. Sorry, pardon my speech. We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. This is our second stream of the day. We're sort of like gnarring out a little bit. Maybe we'll take tomorrow off. If you guys want to like and subscribe, I always appreciate that. But yeah, with like religion and social media, like one of the crazy things is that it's so weird. You do have sola scriptura, apocalyptica, sort of almost fetishized religion next to someone with a PhD in theology who might even be talking to those same people. So how is it not the case that when we look at Gen Z, Gen Alpha, when we go back in time, we look at the greatest generation, boomers, we look at Gen X, we look at anyone on YouTube, anyone on Instagram doing that search, anyone really putting it out there for everybody to look at. I would just seem to imagine that what the world is trying to get to is that, like, look, we said a couple small things really well in this book. Tell me that I'm wrong. We've got from India. Peace to you, my friend. Good to see you. We've got Nishan Gajmir. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Brother, I'm watching from Nepal. Peace to you in Nepal. Hope you're well. Hope all y'all are well. Good to see everybody. And so when we find that our sense of duty or responsibility to produce true content for an audience, when we find that social media is actually telling us to be more extreme, telling us to be a little more active, be more reserved, but in a way where you're losing the topic, you're not talking about the thread anymore. Like, I would think that social media is a force that is defining modern religion, because religion never did any of those things. Religion didn't do any of those things. Brianna, good to see you, homie. Good to see you again. I think I've seen you. I might have said hi to you today. I don't know. My brain hurts. I'm so sorry. This is why I might start doing some PC streams for smaller audiences. Smaller audiences might be a good thing for a lot of this. But I'm just kidding. I love all y'all. We got 12 people here, right? That's how crashed out I am. Let's see. Forgiving Dragons. Talking to Bob. We've got some sola scriptura things going on. I hope on side of religion is BS. I can see it any other way. Hope. Religion. I'm an atheist, so I normally don't agree with religion. I think, anytime you bring the supernatural into the conversation, I think it's hard to find justifications, but I love when people bring their opinions. I love when people have sort of their, what would I say? Oh, Robin's taken off. Robin, so good to see you. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I think it's good when people can have free speech and share their opinion. I also think it's not great. Like, I don't know. No, yeah, whatever. Weird mental wellness and the nutty unprofessor. Yeah, small olive branches is what I often do to help resolve sort of some of the conflicts in my head about my own social media channel. It's good to build in public, all that stuff. Guys, I think we are going to close the stream out. It has been a lot of fun. We are at almost 3 hours. yeah, if you guys want to like and subscribe, catch the next one, catch one of them or whatever. I appreciate everyone who spent even 30 seconds with us here on the channel today. Always try and do some chat engagement. Been playing around doing some show notes. This is Duck's Y. My name is Duck. And so, yeah, just kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't work, or whatever. Have fun, have a conversation, and yeah, all that stuff. So good to see you, Robin Webster. Good night again. All the mods in the chat, everyone, please say thank you to the mods. I will say thank you to the mods for hanging out. And yeah, EJ O'Mara, good to see you. Peace.